Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well, the last few weeks I have played through several action platformer shooters in the vein of Mega Man. All of them have had Inti Create's name on them, and they all had Kenj Inafunes, the man who is known for his role in the Mega Man series, have his name on all of these. The big one, of course, has to be Mighty Number 9, and his name's on there more infamously than the other two. And, well, my personal thoughts towards Mighty Number 9 is that it's an okay game, worth at least trying. To say that a lot of people dislike this game is a bit of an understatement. But what about the other two, Mighty Gunvolt and Azure Striker Gunvolt? Do these two lesser-known titles and lesser infamous titles have the right to call themselves the successor of the Mega Man series? Let's take a look at these games and decide who has the right to call themselves the successor of the Blue Bomber. Now, this is going to be harder than people realize. You see, there is more than one Mega Man series and more than one Mega Man. Mighty Number 9's story being childish wasn't surprising to me because, well, Mega Man was kind of childish. Take a look at the stories in Mega Man 9 and 10 where Mega Man powered up. Now, that's no excuse for the bad jokes. I'm not making an excuse. The jokes and humor in Mighty Number 9 were just awful. But that's one of the reasons why it was childish. It was going for the original series. Now, the Mega Man 0 and ZX storylines were extremely dark, with characters dying, with genocide being portrayed, with humanity always being on the brink of destruction without these Reploid characters to help protect them. And they even had to censor our American version just so Capcom could squeak by with an E rating. So I'm going to be doing a combination of things to see what Mega Man stands for, which has the story more closely aligned to what most people think of a Mega Man game, which had graphics that scream out Mega Man game, which had more in common with Mega Man in the gameplay, and which one had better gameplay overall. Alright, let's talk about the story. Which one's story was more closer to what we think of when we think of a Mega Man game? Mighty Number 9. The story in Mighty Number 9 again is purposely childish to kind of be the successor to the original franchise. Unfortunately, while I don't mind kid-friendly, the jokes here, as I stated before, are abysmal and, worst of all, not funny. The story does have some good things in it, and surprises towards the end when it comes to Dr. White's character, but overall, the story in Mighty Number 9 just really retells the story of the original Mega Man game, and does it in a way that just kind of falls flat in this day and age. Azure Striker Gunvolt. Now here's one that story unfolds a lot like a later Mega Man X or Zero storyline. You take control of a human being called an adept who can harness the power of electricity as he tries to bring down the Sumeragi Corporation and keep them from misusing the power of a psychic diva called the Muse. The story is really dark. The ending, which I won't spoil, is bittersweet to say the least, and it's obvious that some of the characters, including a few of the main ones, are getting killed as the story progresses. It's perfect to be a successor to the Mega Man 0 and ZX series. Mighty Gunvolt. Sorry, Mighty Gunvolt, your story might as well be not applicable. The story is only a few seconds of badly botched text that is purposely confusing to read. Yeah, it's kind of parroting the old 8-bit games that didn't have much story, and what was there was oftentimes really badly translated. But there is no story here. You just basically go around shooting things, and that's what you did in 8-bit shooters. Most people remember the stories from the later Mega Man games, starting at least from the X series and continuing on with the Zero series. Azure Striker Gunvolt's story, in the way it's both told and portrayed, could easily have been a Mega Man game from that same period if they just threw in some more Reploids. Let's start talking about these games' looks and their graphics, and this is another hard one because, well, they all look different, but which one looks closer to being a Mega Man game? A game where someone would go as that Mega Man before taking a second look and realizing it isn't. Mighty Number 9. Yeah, I don't understand the graphics in this game either. Was Inafunes going for a PS2 look on purpose, or was it just for design? Whatever it was, it didn't really work, because there's only one PS2 Mega Man action game that was actually good, the rest were awful, and the worst of them being a game that I don't even want to believe exists. Despite having some similar Mega Man looking characters that try hard to push off that look, Mighty Number 9 just doesn't look like Mega Man. Azure Striker Gunvolt. Now this one could easily be mistaken for a Mega Man ZX game, with the beautiful still images, an anime art style, and it's just plain dark color palette and some detailed backgrounds and good animations up front. If someone told me this had even started out as a Mega Man ZX game, I wouldn't be surprised. Mighty Gunvolt. With its 8-bit cuteness, oversized head, and hey, Beck is here and he even looks more like Mega Man in this one, the graphic style in this game fit a Game Boy Color or NES Mega Man game down to a T. Mighty Gunvolt looks like a classic Mega Man game, way more than Mighty Number 9 does and ever will. And the winner is a tie between Azure Striker Gunvolt and Mighty Gunvolt. Again, there was more than one art style for the Mega Man series. You got the classic 8-bit games and the more modern DS one, with Azure Striker capturing the looks of the DS ones just perfectly, and with the character designs that could have easily been taken from Mega Man ZX. However, Mighty Gunvolt does look the part of an 8-bit shooter game just like Mega Man. Both look good for their respective eras they were trying to emulate, and they both have that same feel. Mighty Gunvolt of an 8-bit game, Azure Striker of a more modern portable game. Both look excellent and both are worthy of saying they look like a Mega Man game. When it comes to the gameplay, I'm going to be breaking it down into two segments. The first will be the more basic gameplay, what feels like Mega Man when you're running around the levels, and then I'm going to do one about the expanded gameplay, what happens after you beat bosses, what weapons can you pick up, what secret power-ups can you earn, etc. So let's take a look at the basics first, which of them feel in some way like they're doing a good job, at least feeling like a Mega Man game. Mighty Number 9. Well, this looks promising at first. You're still jumping around and firing at robots just like in a Mega Man game, but then you have to dash into them in order to really kill them or collect score and power-ups that you need to complete an area. This kind of makes it a huge pain in the ass in later stages when the stage design really doesn't keep up with this dash feature, and when you play as characters outside of Beck who can't use this feature, it makes the gameplay element feel even further out of place. In the end, Mighty Number 9 comes close to feeling like a Mega Man game, but that dash feature just keeps it from being a good Mega Man game, and it's really cuts right down to the basics, unfortunately. Let's see here, another 2D platformer where we are jumping and shooting at enemies. This looks good. Unfortunately, just like Mighty Number 9, you're not going to be killing your enemies with your gun, but rather by using your electricity, which uses the exact same button as Beck's dash feature, ironically. It does offer some of the tropes from later Mega Man games like a wall kick, but overall Azure Striker Gunvolt does differ quite a bit from some of the classic Mega Man games of straight-up action. That said, his little lightning bolts are kind of fun to use, and there's a lot more use of this ability than Beck's dash. And overall, it does keep the action fresh, and I did enjoy using the electricity more than Beck's dash. But still, if we're looking at something that's more of a core Mega Man game, it's not here as much as it should be. Mighty Gunvolt. Hey, a game that's a 2D platformer and I kill enemies just by shooting them? The stage design also fits some of the early Mega Man games. Now, in my review, I did criticize the game as being a bit too easy compared to some of the hardcore action that were in early Mega Man titles, and that is true here, but the overall feel is that of a classic Mega Man, and it fits it to a T. And the winner is Mighty Gunvolt. Yeah, when I thought about what made a Mega Man game as far as going through the stages, I felt it when I was playing Mighty Gunvolt. I just shot at enemies while jumping from platform to platform. No tricky combos or extra abilities I have to use to destroy enemies. Just me and a good old-fashioned blaster. But there is more to Mega Man than just stage design and running and shooting things. Other things come to play, like the weapons and the secrets that are available that you must equip in order to complete the game, and I have to put this into effect here. Basic Mega Man gameplay says you get a weapon power-up from the bosses, and then you use that weapon power-up on stages where the enemy and the bosses are weak against said weapons. But it gets even trickier though, because in the later entries in the Zero and ZX series kinda glossed over this. Instead of giving you a weapon, they gave you equipable abilities that helped you out all over the place rather than just giving you a single weapon to use against a boss and a few enemies. So let's take a look at these games in the expanded gameplay and which one of them makes me feel like they were kind of doing the Mega Man series right, at least either in the classic sense or where it's going. So let's take a look. Mighty Number 9. Yeah, Beck owns the classic formula. You pick a stage and even get a special weapon from it that another boss is weak against. And another special touch is that the bosses you get the weapon from will help you out in that stage as well, something the Mega Man series didn't do. It can't get any closer to the Mega Man rock, paper, scissors formula than this, even if there are only a small amount of weapons that are actually any good. Azure Striker Gunvolt. Now, in Azure Striker Gunvolt, you never got new special weapons from defeated enemies, but you do unlock new guns, which fire your bullets in special ways, and then you also get EXP and other special items that you can use to customize new armor and gear. The paper, rock, scissors mechanic that was seen in other Mega Man games is nowhere to be found here, but you do have a large customization options, and I should note that the Mega Man Zero and CX series were kind of headed in this direction, kind of having less of the special weapons and more customization, like Zero Cyber Elves for the Mega Man Zero series, just as an example. Mighty Gunvolt. Yeah, here is where Mighty Gunvolt just fails the whole Mega Man thing. You get jack and squat for beating enemies. No hidden power-ups, no customizations, no special anything for completing a stage. You just move on to the next one. You get so much right in the basic execution, but you do need to have some sort of special ability or something for me to get to complete a stage in order for me to consider you a Mega Man game. All you're doing here is just shooting enemies. And because it's so short and so easy, it kind of just fails at being a Mega Man game for that reason. It's kind of a shame because, like I said, in the basic department, Mighty Gunvolt does feel like a Mega Man successor, but it just fails when it comes to growing on what's basic about Mega Man. And the winner of this category is both Mighty Number 9 and Azure Striker Gunvolt, but for different reasons. If you're looking more towards the classic Mega Man weapon grab, then yeah, Mighty Number 9 does all that and more. However, Azure Striker Gunvolt was doing what the Mega Man Zero and ZX series were doing by expanding on this, by doing item customization, by increasing your abilities more than just having a single weapon, and I kind of liked and valued that about those games. Both systems are good. I enjoy both of them. Depending on what you're looking for, you'll find it in either one of these games if you're looking for the whole weapon power-up thing. So who is the overall winner? The one who has the right to call themselves the new Mega Man, the one who earns the title of the new Blue Bomber. Well, that goes to Azure Striker Gunvolt. Yeah, you kind of saw this one coming if you saw my review. I said it's the best game out of the three, hands down. But it feels more like the continuation of the Mega Man franchise, a continuation from ZX. It's not doing its best to try to recapture some area in the past of the Mega Man franchise, but rather moving it forward. It would be like what Mega Man ZX3 would be like if they ever made a third Mega Man ZX game, as that series was phasing out the basic weapon grabs for more customizable options and throwing in some RPG elements, which is what Azure Striker Gunvolt does. Also, out of all this game on this list, it's the only one that's going to be getting a sequel anytime in the near future, and from what the sequel looks like, you'll have a second character that can grab enemy weapons from defeated bosses, a la Mega Man style. So I'm definitely looking forward to Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, and recommend getting the original one either on the 3DS or on Steam. This is Tommy the Game Master signing out, but before you do, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys later.